Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear friends. Once again, my name is Comfort Confo, and it's an exciting day. It's another exciting moment. As you can see, I am blessed with the presence of a very important personality this afternoon, and I'm so excited, and I hope everyone is as excited as I am to hear from him. So the person you see with me here in the studio right now is someone that I would call a high-profile personality. I actually was like, I'm so courageous to tell him to come and sit here and talk to us. And the person I'm talking about here is the founder of the Solstice Dental Advisors and the 10K a Day Dentist podcast. He is equally a director of the 5M Mastermind. He has over 45 years of experience in what he is best at doing, and he is going to definitely tell us a bit more about that when the time comes. And he is equally a recognized international speaker, business coach. He is equally the #1 best-selling author of The Clinician and still maintains a thriving private practice in Suwanee, Georgia. So the person I'm talking about here is equally a philanthropist, and above all, very interesting and very important, he is one of the top 100 doctors in the world. And I bring to you no one else but Dr. Bill Williams. Dr. Bill Williams, you are very welcome to this show. Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you very much for having me on your show today, Comfort, all the way to the UK and all around the world. You know, today's a special day for me, besides being on your show, which is an honor. My children who grew up in the UK, my grandchildren, they're coming to live in the United States with me tomorrow. And so I've been to the UK many times because I visited them in Norwich and Windsor and Cambridge. So I'm very familiar with that beautiful country.
Right. Okay. I am actually in the West Midlands. So where do your grandchildren live in the UK?
They used to live in the UK. They moved to Doha, Qatar in Northern Africa a year and a half ago. So they've been there since before COVID. And of course, we have not gotten to visit.
All right. Okay. So it's actually, the pleasure is actually mine, and it's really a privilege to have you here today. So that said, I have tried to find out, and there is a lot of interesting things about you that I just found out, and we would like you to add more or make more clarifications to the many things that we know about you that I could not even say them all. So maybe you heard what I said. Is there anything about yourself that you would like to add to what I said that you would like people to know about you, please?
There's so many paths I've gone down. I have a 10-year attention span, so I can pretty much stick with something for 10 years. But beyond dentistry, which is my main thing, I've done that for 43 years. I've taught dentists in different fields of dentistry, 10 years in TMJ, orthodontics and reconstruction, and then 10 years in marketing and management and leadership. I did multi-level and network marketing for 10 years all around the world, all at the same time maintaining a dental practice. I did missionary work for about 10 or 15 years all around the world. And you know, I take a break periodically from one thing and then go do something else. And then I come back to teaching dentists, for instance, or I come back to doing missions, for instance. So I went to Vietnam last year and just got back like in the end of last year for a mission. So those things just stay in my mind. But I guess the best thing is I didn't do a 10-year period. Was when I got married, I stayed married. So I've been married 43 years to my wife.
Well,
and she's one, you know, the partner in the business. She's a partner in the home. And we're still looking forward right now to being grandparents and enjoying the kids coming home.
Wow, this sounds really interesting when you say your wife has been a partner both in business and in like family, child upbringing, because from the record, it shows that you have been a very successful person in life. Could it be that your wife has been an integral part of it, like her contributions? I think people would like to know this because we want to be like you tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, my wife is like the string that holds the balloon. I want to fly away, and she holds me down to ground. So I'm always trying to go do new things, and she's always the one that's the solid one. Wow. And so that's a good combination. If we both flew away, we wouldn't have that solid foundation.
Wow, no, that's so interesting to know. That said, there are a few things I've seen, and I've seen, you know, human we're so attracted to figures when it comes to. So I've seen something here, like you said, you were a founder of Solstice Dental Advisors and the 10K a Day Dentist podcast. There's equally something which says you are director of the 5M Mastermind. What are those? What is it has to do with 10K, 5M, and so on? So just tell us a bit more about that.
What are those? Well, the 10K a Day book came about because I was trying to teach a class to my mastermind students. And as I was putting together my lecture, I said, what do I know that's worth teaching? And I looked back at my history in
Hello, can you hear me? Oh.
So we got knocked off the internet for a second, but I'm back now.
All right, yeah.
So I was talking about the $10,000 a day dentist book and how that got started. Is that what you were wanting to know?
Yes.
So Comfort, I was putting together the lecture for my first mastermind a number of years ago, and I said, what do I know that seems to be a secret, something that other people don't know? And it turned out it was how to be productive and how to be efficient and effective. And so I wrote down 50 things I do, think, believe, or do to be successful every day. And then I kind of categorized those into 5 areas, you know, mindset, team, facility, capacity. And when I got through with that list, I had 10 things in 5 areas. And I said to my wife, I said, we need to put this in PowerPoint and teach this and see if we can get them to do the same thing I've done, which was average production-wise over 10,000 a day every day for the last 15 years. I was very productive as a dentist, probably about 5 or 6 times more productive than the average dentist per day. And so it was a skill worth teaching because it is a skill. You can teach it.
Right.
And we did that. We taught our students. They did have the capability to do what I was doing. And each one of them became capable of doing that much. So it was just a principle of being efficient and not wasting time, looking at things in a whole different way. And so what we did was we taught people how to have the perfect day every day.
Wow.
If you could organize your life to be perfect every day, what would you do? Mm-hmm. And as far as being a dentist, that 8 hours that you're working, what do you do during that 8 hours that is going to give more people more service? Mm-hmm. And so we actually were able to serve 2 or 3 times more people per day by doing the things that I taught them. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the genesis of that lecture, and it turned into a book because it was so effective that I said, I can't keep this a secret. I've got to let it out. And so as interesting topic, as I was writing it, I let my pastor friend from the UK, Ian Andrews, who's also a founder, by the way, I let him read the book, and he's not a dentist, he's a pastor. And he read it and he says, you know, this book is universal. These are universal principles. So even though you're a dentist talking about how to be a perfect dentist every day, you could just use this book as a pattern for life. And so, you know, one day I think maybe I'll do a series of books and have the $10,000 a day plumber, the $10,000 a day attorney, the $10,000 a day lawn care company. Whatever it is, if you just apply the principles that work smart,
right,
it'll just move your business forwards. Now, when I got into On Passive, I said, you know, this fits what I think On Passive could be. We could be $10,000 a day earners in On Passive.
Okay, I think,
and you wouldn't even have to work as hard.
Dr. Phil Williams, I would like to let you wait for now. We'll go into On Passive because you have a lot to tell to that. So before then, so this book, the book that you authored, carries this information, so we can find it on Amazon or anywhere yeah, because it sounds really interesting, and I think people would love to read that. Yeah. All right. So
yeah, it is available on Amazon.
Okay. All right. So thank you. We apparently you are a very successful person. I'm going back to this again. You have lived a successful life in career, family, and all of those. And you seem to be like sufficiently comfortable where you are now, what you have been doing and what you are still doing. You don't seem to like be in need, I would say. So what actually what makes you look beyond what you have already acquired and what you have achieved, and you are really so engaged again with On Passive?
Well, in my DNA, there's no stopping. You know, as I turned 70 this year, most of my colleagues that started school when I did are already retired.
Okay.
And I didn't feel like I wanted to retire, but I did want to change my focus from having to go to the dental office and do what I did at the dental office every day. So I've cut back to just a couple of days a week and then one day a week this year. So I want to stay active. I think if you want to live long, you need to stay active. And so I always look for something new to keep a challenge. One of my friends just started college at age 76, and he's going to go back for his third degree in history. Well, I feel the same way. We need to have something to focus on and to set goals to reach, because that's what gives you healthy longevity. If you sit and watch TV all day, you probably won't live too long. So I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy the camaraderie of the people.
Right.
I enjoy getting out, going places. I want to go visit many of the countries where we have founders. Mm-hmm. And it's all part of the plan. Ultimately, of course, I want to support my children and grandchildren to have a legacy and create that dynasty for them so that they can have something to fall back on. They can have something they can call their own down the road. I think that's a big part of why people are getting involved now.
Right.
When they're older, they might need a lot of money, but the kids are always going to need more. The way things are going, the kids are going to have a hard time, I think, and we need to support their opportunities. And this is what I'm doing, is opening up the door for their future.
Right. Wow. This is so interesting, because I was waiting for you to give me an opportunity to ask, what is your secret? Because if you don't tell that you are 70, everybody gives you 50, but then you just said it yourself, staying active, learning new things every day, and so on. I think this is a huge lesson, and I really appreciate this. So that said, I know that you would have done a lot, leadership and all of this, and to still want to keep on keeping on means that you would have, I don't know, you normally would have gone through challenges and so on. And these are some of the things that make people maybe grow like you have grown to this extent, and you are so strong. So what are some of the challenges you have had along your way till now, and how did you manage them?
When I was teaching, I had 7 or 8 years of teaching in our teaching group. grew into some conflict because of different philosophies of how we wanted to go. And so I found that if you don't have compatible teamwork, if you're not on the same page, then you have to make changes. And so even though you have a team, if it's not a compatible team, you need to rearrange the members of the team. And so you have to draw a line in the sand at some time, and you have to give people direction. And one of the tools we would use would be to say, this is the line in the sand. This is the way it was. This is the way it is. And if you want to join the new team, come across the line. If you don't want to do it the new way, then we're going to part ways today. And so sometimes that happens and you need to make a change. So we've done that a couple of times over the years. Another time I had two associate dentists that worked for me, and one went on a pregnancy leave, was coming back, and a week before she was supposed to be back, she said, well, I don't think I'm coming back, actually. And so I was down one, and the next week, the other one found out that his wife was pregnant and wanted to go home to live where she used to live in another state. So that meant that the next month I was down two dentists. So we went from 3 to 1 in 2 or 3 weeks, and we had all these patients, and it was pretty busy for a few weeks, but I prayed about it, and it turns out another dentist was praying about changing his position, and he joined me the next month. Now, typically it takes sometimes 4 to 6 months to find a dentist to come work. And if it takes 4 to 6 months to find somebody, that could be a big dent in your practice. It's very stressful to run a big practice by yourself. But we prayed about it, and we both at the same time called each other and left a message on our phones to talk about us joining forces. And as soon as he came on board, everything clicked well, and we both were more productive than the 3 of the ones before. So it was a good move all around. So the power of prayer works.
Wow.
So that's a solution,
This is interesting. So the power of prayer really it works, and I believe too, because equally I'm a born again child of God, and I do pray too a lot. But there is just so much to learn from you, and you being one of the backbones of Unpassive now. I would just like you to use this opportunity equally, because people like to hear from different sources. Maybe use in your own words and tell the people what are because you have a lot of plans. Apart from keeping active and getting younger every day, you have a plan to help your children and your grandchildren and so on. So what actually does Unpassive has to offer that could make you do this, create wealth or build a dynasty for your family and things like that? Just tell us in your own words as you feel like.
What does Unpassive have to offer me?
To offer you and the rest of the founders, yeah, sure. To give people reason to join.
I think the first thing it offers is stability. Not knowing where your next meal comes from, not knowing if you're going to have enough to pay the rent by the end of the month, not knowing if you'll be able to buy a car when your old clunker dies on the side of the road. Those things will be forever gone for the Unpassive founder. So you'll have stability in your life. You'll be able to count on cash flow. When we have this thing flowing consistently, we'll be able to make changes in what we worry about. We won't be worried about money so much, and that way we can focus on what's out there instead of what's inside is bothering us, because we're not going to have too much bothering us if we don't let it get to us, So we can focus on helping other people. We can help on helping our family. I think everybody should start by helping their family. Nobody wants to have a family member left behind. So the most ideal thing to do is get everybody in your family to be a founder so that there are no unequal members of the family. Can you imagine where 3/4 of the family are founders and 1/4 is not, how that 1/4 would feel when everybody wants to go on vacation, but they can't afford it. You know, if everybody moves to a new zip code, but the ones who didn't get into on passive, you just have to leave them behind if you want to move to a new zip code.
Right.
And upgrade your housing, upgrade your nice neighborhood, a better school. So those things are important. So look at your family as a large unit that goes together. Then you look at your friends. If you want to travel around the world, do you want to go by yourself or do you want to go with your family? Sometimes family are like, you know, I get enough of that. I want some friends that are not my family to hang around with, right? Everybody knows family is good, but they're not the ones you want to be around 100%. So you do need to have friends that you can say are colleagues, buddies from school. Things that you talk about with friends might not be family, you know? So I like to travel with my church friends, for instance, and we go on 1 or 2 week trips, cruises, and just have a good time, the adults, and we don't bring the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a goal. Everybody should have friends on, on passive. So what on passive can offer is, you know, the money for an education, the money for a house, the friendships between the founders that we developed. I think that's going to be pretty huge. A lot of the people that I've gotten to know as founders, leaders, nice people I'd want to spend time with. I'd like to go to their country and experience their country as a guest with them rather than staying in a hotel and taking a tour bus through town. Because you really do learn about the country when you stay with the native people. And I know my son did people-to-people tours when they were small, and they found the highlight of their tour was staying in the homes of people. Like in New Zealand, the Maori tribe members. One of my sons stayed with the Maori. Another one went to Italy or Spain and stayed in homes in those countries. So we enjoy the travel, and that's something I want to do more of. And hopefully the travel ban will be lifted and we'll be free to go very soon.
Yeah, this sounds really good. And you, like you rightly said, I joined on Passive in June 2020. And apart from the financial part of it, the huge blessing I've equally had as a person is the relationship. I am just talking to you today because of Unpassive. This is luxury. I would never have known you, but you are sitting here talking to me and people listening to you and I here. It's thanks to Unpassive. I think it's such a huge family that nobody would miss being part of. So thank you for really making it known to people. So one thing for all we know, those of us who are already founders and everybody who comes here as a guest, they give this assurance that Unpassive is different, it's unique, and it has got something that others do not have, what nobody has ever offered to mankind. So what actually makes Unpassive stand out from other things that have been happening out there before now?
It's unified, it's tied together, it's built from the ground up to work together. And I've been an instructor and a teacher for 35 or more years. So I put together webinars and lectures and slideshows and presentations. I've spoken, done a lot of things. And I always had to put together everything from scratch. And I had to cobble this together to that and kind of make them work. Many times I didn't do as much as I could because the difficulty of putting all the software together, plugins that didn't work. Ash just figured all that out and knows the struggle that people have with the internet and how to do business. And he's taken the work away from it and given it to the automation process, the machine learning, the artificial intelligence. So he's taken the work out of work. Mm-hmm. And so we basically are going to play at work being founders. I think the grand idea putting it all together in one package is the winner of all things that he's done.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things you said, which was very important, I think I should take us back, was the fact that apart from in addition to the many other things you did, you also did missionary works. And I have friends, missionary friends or people like that, whom I've presented on passive too, because I think that it's a great empowerment tool to take people to, to be able to do what we are planning to do. But some of them have this fear that the background, or there may be something hidden that is not Christian, and then it may, so they don't feel comfortable. Is there anything that what encouragement or what clarifications can you make to a Christian woman or man who should have been a member of this, so that he does what they want to do in charity and things, but they're like, I'm not sure, because they're not sure of the source of income and so on. So you might be of help.
Well, I think God ordains people to be in certain places at certain times. And he put me here to explain on passive. I think that's part of why I'm here. I have a life purpose that is to bring God into the workplace. And that looks like just acknowledging that God is behind all the good things that we do and receive. And he wouldn't put me here knowing that he's got a purpose for me. He wouldn't put me here to speak about on passive if it weren't from him. And so the income that comes is very beneficial, and it's what God has ordained for us to have. It's not like it's something that's unfair. It's very fair to lower the price of something, increase the value of something, and offer it to more people. So this is something that is very fitting, I think, for the religious people to know that On Passive is built on principles that are universal. And it's to the masses that we are giving this. And so it's not for just the high rollers. It's not for people at the top get all the money. And so I think every religion can get behind the fact that this is very equitable. Certainly the people that I've gotten involved in it, I have many pastors and many missionaries from around the world who have joined my team because they see the value of a program like O Bless. They see the value of O Connect. So they'll be teaching, they'll be having programs in Academy, and it's a very good vehicle. If you look at On Passive, it's basically a vehicle to get your message out. And certainly all religions want to get their message out. So it's a vehicle for spokespeople. If you're a spokesperson, if you're an evangelist who believes in a topic, you can be an evangelist of anything. I've been an evangelist for dentistry all my life. I've been an evangelist for Christianity all my life. I've been an evangelist for leadership and communication all my life. So I believe in teaching people what I believe in. And On Passive is what I believe in right now. It's very, very good tool to move the human condition forwards and support everybody.
Right. Well, this is really interesting, and I'm just happy. Yeah, because I think this sounds like what we do to when we're making presentations with our groups. What we say we're on a mission of spreading the gospel of On Passive. I don't think that is too much a thing to say, knowing what On Passive is. You have just mentioned a few products, and that takes us to the next question, which I actually had for you. So, the launching, we as founding members will have the luxury of seeing these products firsthand before any other person through the mega product launch. And last week, we saw emotions when O Bless was launched. All that took place and so on, your presentation, I was like, everybody was just like, oh my God. So if you could use this time to just explain to people what is O Bless actually. I think some people will need to know, because we talk about this a lot and so on. Just what is O Bless? Let's start from there.
Yes, one product out of 50 or so that On Passive is bringing out this year is Obless, a crowdfunding mechanism to join people who want to give to people who want to receive. And so, you know, you look at the universe of who wants to receive, all the nonprofits, all the churches, everybody who's got a good project to help people would qualify. Also, you got a whole nother group of people who want to innovate and grow, start a company. So it might not be a spiritual or a mission-based thing. It might be an industrial thing, a micro lending situation where you start maybe a chicken house where you would grow chickens and sell eggs. Mm-hmm. So you need a lump of money to buy your chickens so you can start selling eggs. So you can buy the feed so you can get started. So, you know, you might have micro loans or micro gifts in this case, because these are going to be gifts for the most part through Obless. So you can start up little projects that would support a family. You might have a project to dig a well. You put a water well in a village that doesn't have a water well. So all these things are worthy projects, and you could go from those kind of small things up to something huge where you're starting a huge factory and you want to raise funds for a factory. And there's ways to give benefits to the people who donate. So perks are part of it. You can have hats and caps and shirts, t-shirts for the small perks. You could have big perks for big donations. You know, somebody wanted to buy a hospital, put it in a village. You might give them a 1 week safari in Kenya. Everything works.
Right. Well,
I've been there. I've done that.
Right.
I love going to Kenya. I love the safaris. I never go to Kenya unless I go on safari also to take pictures of animals.
Okay. Yeah.
And the people too.
Just for fun, or is there, you just do that for fun, right? Anyway, safari, yeah, sure. Yeah. So there is on that day, the night of On Passive, there were two statements that are picked up. One was made by you, that the heart of On Passive is summarized in Obless. And then there is another person, this was Nancy from Papua New Guinea. She says, Obless is the signature of On Passive. There's so much about Obless that we can say over and over and over again, but I want to know here, who stands to benefit from Obless? Is it the founding members or anybody can benefit from it?
Everybody can benefit from Obless. The founding members, of course, will be the first to use it. And from our research that Ash shared, we know that you get 10 times better feeling from giving as from receiving.
Right.
So giving is something that pleases everyone, makes them feel better. They have more optimism. So giving is a positive experience. But after launch, customers will be able to use Obless. So the people that will get to be using this product will go on and on and on. Every church congregation, every 501c3, every NGO will want to use Obless. Endless numbers of people will jump into On Passive for this one reason, that we have a vehicle to get money where it's excess, move it to where it's deficient. So we're going to basically level the playing field with Obless. Those who have more money than they need will see a need and they'll fill it over here.
Wow. Yeah. So you talked about your experience. You like traveling to India and so on. I think this goes back again to your stuff and your travels and what you have been doing. There's another thing you said the other day was really interesting. If you could still shed more light, because these are things we need to hear. At times, so many people are here, but they're not yet decided. Questions still come up. What am I going to be doing when On Passive launches? So your experience helps to shed light and to open minds like, oh, there's a lot to do. one of the things you did in Kenya, I think, was you apparently reconciled some two tribes. So what actually happened? What did you do?
Say that again, Comfort. In Kenya, what did I do?
You said you brought a reconciliation between two tribes in Kenya.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we would like to know a bit more about that.
Okay. Well, my wife and friends and I have a conference that we give called Love and Hope. And it basically is a spiritual blessing that we give to the people. And we go through a series of lectures and then experiential things to demonstrate the Father's love and the Father's heart, the Mother's heart of God. Mm-hmm. And it's a reconciliation process, in this case, where the two tribes that were at war sat down, and it's almost like coming to a peace table, smoking the peace pipe, as the old American Indians used to do. Mm-hmm. And you would sit down and you would go through this process and forgive one another. And so the act of forgiveness is central to the process. Each one had crimes committed against the other. And so somebody had to step in the middle and say, we got to put everything back together. And so it was a spiritual blessing that we were able to bring to the two tribes.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. And I think that's it must have been very rewarding. I know that you would have done a lot of those. I think, how do you feel after you accomplish such? It feels like a blessing, doesn't it? Yeah. So,
yeah, you know, if you look.
Yeah, carry on, please.
If you look for the highs of life, when you go through and you do certain things in life, you reach a peak, you know, so you call it a mountaintop experience. And so the first mission trip to Kenya was a mountaintop experience. And then certain things that happened along the way, another mountaintop experience. Doing that spiritual retreat was a mountaintop experience because it was different from dental work and medical work. When we went to Vietnam, working in a country that we had once been at war with, that was a peak experience to serve the people of Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Because I was never in the war. I was home as a college student during those years, but it was an effective thing that was traumatic between our countries. And so to go back and heal wounds, that was important. So anytime you go back to a place that was off limits and you then join forces and start working together with other Vietnamese dentists, that was important. So that's one of the things I found about traveling around the world is we go places that used to be our enemies and we find out that they're really, the people are not the enemy. I've traveled to Russia 3 times. I've been to China, Vietnam, all over Europe, all over Africa, South America. And I find the people everywhere are nice and genuine. And then we have a lot more in common than we have different.
All right. Wow, this sounds good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if we listen to Mr. Ash Mufareh, who is a CEO and founder of Unpassive, we know that his heart's desire, his dream is to clone millions of Mother Teresa and empower them financially to reach out to suffering people all over the world. So how would you encourage founders to get this vision to its to fruition?
If I were looking to support people to do more good works and charitable works, I would first say, change your mindset, change your heart to make sure it's in the right place. And then figure out how to make more income through Unpassive, through team building, because that's the way you increase your income. So so that you have enough extra, you can live off of 20%, 40%, give away the rest to good causes. And so if you want to do the things that you can do, you need to set the stage early for success by doing the right things. If you have a goal to be a generous giver, well, you need to start by being a team builder. And then once you have your family taken care of, then you can take care of others. And what we do is we say, pick a goal and pick a small goal and say, okay, I'm going to do that. And once you achieve one goal, set another goal and do that. I mean, I wouldn't suggest to anybody to go out and start a mission, to go to another country to build a hospital the first time you go out. What I would suggest people do if they want to get involved is join somebody else's mission and watch how they run it, be a part of their mission, and just go visit as a worker. And then one day, if you like doing it, you may want to start your own project and go to a new place and start your own mission. But there's a lot of work involved. It's a pretty hard work to start a mission and follow through. You've got a lot of things you have to know and do and be responsible for. So look for other people's missions to join first, and then beyond that, the sky's the limit. Maybe you can go out and start building hospitals and churches and school buildings and granaries. You can do all those things.
Wow.
But yeah, be incremental in an approach.
I'm learning just a lot from this, because if I understand now from what you are saying that in order to reach the top, it takes one step at a time. So it sounds really interesting.
It's a work in process, and you don't want it to become a full-time job either from the very beginning. You want to work into it if you're interested in missions. See how it feels, see how it works. When we took 2 ladies on our mission trip, they went 2 years in a row to Kenya with us. And then 3rd or 4th year, they said, I'm going to go back to Kenya and live. And they became permanent missionaries in Kenya for 5 years.
Right.
So that would be more of an appropriate way to go, rather than just jumping in and going, I'm full-time, but I don't know what I'm doing.
I know. Yeah, I think there's a lot to learn from that. So thank you so much. There's one of the things you said, that in order for us to make a bit more money or to build our wealth, we can do that by building teams. And this is a word that, because we explain that on passive is automated and everything is done for you and so on. So people really get a bit worked up. Oh my God, you just said we're not supposed to build teams. And here now you say we should build teams. So how can you clarify this for someone who does not yet understand the dynamics of passive?
There's really 2 sides of that coin. If you want to grow income faster, you have to build a team. Passive is going to grow at a certain pace, and maybe that's good, and that's all you need. That's all you wish. But if you want it to go faster, you're going to have to do something yourself. If you have big dreams and you want to have a bigger impact on the world, maybe you want to have more income generated. So it's all dependent on the individual. There's no reason you have to do anything. But if you want to, then we're going to have some tools available to share with you. And especially between now and launch, all the founders have the opportunity to build. And you can build as a reseller after we launch, but it's just going to be a little different because your efficiency of building is much greater before launch. Now, the people can't use the tools, so they may want to say, I don't know what you're selling. But the dream is bigger for founders. And so it's easier right now than ever to get your team going. Mm-hmm. One thing I just put out with Ken Russo today was a video that he's going to upload and put on the Leadership Council in the next couple of days, and a little article about what the O-Wiki is. The O-Wiki is our explanation of all the things you need to be successful as a founder. And it's like a table of contents with 29 different points. Wow. And you'll be able to get a lot of information about what you need to be successful from that educational O-Wiki. You know, the Wikipedia? Well, I'm calling ours O-Wiki. And it's going to be on the new Go Founders website. When it comes out, we'll have the O-Wiki as one of the menu items. And you'll be able to open up and see, for instance, 22 different Facebook pages that people use. You'll be able to see the videos on the YouTube channels for maybe 25 or 26 different YouTube people from the Go Founders group. You'll be able to see some letters that I've written to team build and other leaders have used to team build. Will be all the songs of On Passes will be there. And it's just going to be a resource. And you know how Red has done a whole lot and Jeffrey's done a whole lot of good videos about how to. We'll have all listed in one place. So everybody that's new will not have to search and wonder, where do I find these things? They'll be readily available. So that'll be a real resource for team building.
Wow. This is so interesting, and On Passive seems to be very, very organized, because everything, you know, our products are put in an ecosystem, and then now we are looking forward to O-Wiki. So we can't wait to have that out there, because it's really going to be useful. I just want to take us to some other things. So I think it's still connected. Yesterday, I was talking to a lady, Madame Rosaline. She is a senior citizen and African who used this opportunity to say, because life in Africa and the low-income countries, low and middle-income countries is always different. So back home, when people retire, it feels like it's the end of life. You just wait to die because there's no money and things like that and so on. So she was calling on retirees and people who are near retirement and so on, because she says you need to plan while still at work to get themselves positions on passive, because it's going to change the narrative that when you leave work, you die. It's going to make it really real, like others feel that retirement is just beginning of another life. So she called on Asians, Latin Americans, Africans to come on board as senior citizens and make it happen to them in life. So what would you add to that, both to people of the low and middle income countries and even retirees of the advanced, the Western world? I think this is good. We need this information to reach out to our people.
Hey, you know, you're exactly right. There's never enough to retire on. In the world, 98% of the people never have enough money once they stop working to live comfortably. In America, it's the same way. You know, your standard of living goes down dramatically when you retire. No matter what you're making, you can't get that much in retirement for the most part. And so you have to take a 20%, 50%, 80% cut in income when you stop that paycheck. So I think Unpassive is perfect for the retiree generation. You know, anybody that's over 50 should be having an account, a position for retirement purposes. Now, you might not want to stop working at 50. In some countries, that may be a time a lot of people stop working. In America, 65, 70 is pretty much the norm when we stop working. And so I think it's a perfect income generation plan. I teach that secondary sources of income or multiple sources of income is important, because you never know when you're going to lose your job. You never know when your company's going to go out of business. You never know when COVID's going to shut you down. And that secondary income will come no matter what. And a retired person needs that kind of backup. In America, the Social Security system is probably close to broken, and it won't last for another 20, 30 years, I don't think. And I'm sure in many countries they don't even have a social security system. Everybody needs that kind of help. OnPassive is here to help. It is the answer.
Good. Well, that said, maybe just let them know before we finally close. I was not going to bring this up, but because this one was special, a message to a special set of people, maybe you just want to quickly tell them how they can become a founding member, how much does it cost, and so on. Thank you.
Yeah, it's easy right now. It's the cheapest it will ever be. $97 plus $5 credit card fee if you use a credit card. And then you're a founder, and you'll never get anything that's a better deal than that for anything. It's a membership fee, not an investment. And so you join for a year, and then the thing starts growing, and you put out one more fee, a monthly payment for the subscription to the products, one time for founders. And once you do that, you don't have to come out of pocket ever again. So it's very low cost to get in, but it never stops feeding you once you start it. It's a perpetual income situation. Now, I put a lot of money into a lot of projects in hopes that they would grow, and they went nowhere. They bust. And I'm talking lots of money. And so when people come to you and say it's $97, a lot of times you think, that's not enough to make a difference. Well, let me ask you, as a seasoned professional and a qualified investor, don't look at it as an investment. You look at it as a membership. And because you're a member, you have privileges. And if you have the privilege of staying in the income stream, that's something that's worth a lot more than $97. That's just set it up that way so everybody could be in. And that's the key. It's not worth what you're putting it in, what you're putting into it. It's worth a lot more.
Wow. Yeah, thank you so much for shedding that light. Dear friends, if you are watching us live and you have a question, just drop it on the comment section. And if you're joining on for us for your first time, just do subscribe and click on the notification bell for regular updates. So tonight, we are blessed with the presence of Dr. Bill Williams. And so do not take any question or doubts back home, because he is here to make all the clarifications to help someone take an informed decision. So before we finally close, Dr. Williams, to Dr. B. Williams, I don't know if you have a word, because we still have, like we say that OnPassive has not yet launched, and it means that there's still room for someone. And there's that someone who has heard about OnPassive. They have $97 now, but they are not yet sure whether it's the right place to be. So do you have a piece of advice before we finally close, please?
Yeah, when OnPassive launches to the public, there will be no more founders, and you'll have missed the best ride at the carnival, the most fun ride of all. You don't want to go to the carnival, go in and look around, but not get on the ride. It's a joy to take this ride. So think about it as something you do not want to miss. The entry fee is so low. The fun you're going to have as a member of OnPassive, the friends you'll make, the places you'll go, the freedom from worry is so good. It's worth everything to put that $97 down now, and don't wait and miss out on that opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Bill Williams, for your time. And I want to use this opportunity to appreciate you for all that you are doing for OnPassive. And I have a lot of respect for you, listening to you. I've always, you have made it even much more now, because I'm like, oh, wow, he's doing so much and so on. And there's so much to learn from you. And thank you so much. Keep on doing what you are doing, because it's really useful. Every word that comes out of your mouth is always either a blessing, a kind of force of empowerment, and we are really looking forward to more. So thank you for your time, and we hope to have you back here again when need be. Thank you.
Thank you, Comfort. You are a a rising star in On Passive. The UK folks are, doing so well all across the board. It's a strong group and growing. I'm proud to be part of your team. And On Passive is really, really bringing people from all around the world together, new friends and new opportunities everywhere you look. There's not a person I see in On Passive that doesn't have a smile on their face. And what more could a dentist want?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, and see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.
Take care, everyone.